we went out to dinner one night. We were driving home, and I got this terrible pain in my stomach. I was rushed to the emergency room.
From death's doorstep, he was born again, and he decided to never take a single moment for granted. A powerful story of surviving and thriving is ahead. Then,
I'm as nervous as can be about tomorrow and the next day, and I have a lot of doubts. But, I think it's the group and the community that will carry us all to the top.
Why one of the world's most powerful cancer advocates vows to never stop setting bigger and bigger goals. What it does for him and those around him.
And don't miss our candid conversation with an artist who says he's doing some of his best work now in his 90s. And if you don't agree, well, that's just fine with this rebel. Now on Growing Bolder.
The moral of the story is really follow your heart.
Live your life to the fullest. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it.
So get out there, take some chances.
Find something you love and make it your lifestyle.
Make no mistake about it, it's a revolution.
Welcome to Growing Bolder, the show that shines the spotlight on seemingly ordinary people pursuing extraordinary lives. I'm Bill Schaefer.
And I'm Mark Middleton, coming to you today from the Growing Bolder home here in Lake Nona, Florida. And we start with an adventure that took place at nearly 20,000 feet with some of the bravest and boldest people I've ever met. Cancer survivors and advocates determined to make it to the top of the world's tallest freestanding mountain.
Yeah, and their message, dream big and live big, because anything is possible. It certainly inspires this man to keep moving forward.
The 16-member Survivor Summit team is halfway up Mount Kilimanjaro and nervously anticipating the increasingly difficult and dangerous challenge ahead.
Yesterday when it was pouring rain, I started to have some doubts, just like everybody else. But I think, if you don't set goals that seem unachievable, you never live life to the fullest. I'm as nervous as can be about tomorrow and the next day, and I have a lot of doubts. But, I think it's the group and the community that will carry us all to the top. And when things get hard, we'll think about those people that we love and those people that we wish were here with us.
I think it's great. I printed this out, it's on my desk. There's only 2 edits that I think I want to make.
Okay.
Doug Ulman is one of the world's top nonprofit executives. As CEO of the Livestrong Foundation, he helped give hope to survivors worldwide for more than 14 years.
And one of the things that I think we're most proud of is that we've helped shift the perception of cancer, the dialogue around cancer, and we've helped create this empowered community of people who feel like they can live their life even though they have a history of cancer.
Now he's moved on to Columbus, Ohio as CEO of Pelotonia, a nonprofit that raises money to support cancer research at Ohio State University and cancer treatment at the James, a cutting-edge, world-renowned cancer hospital. Ulman comes by his passion for helping survivors naturally. His parents are both cancer survivors, and he's a 3-time survivor, diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer when he was a 19-year-old college sophomore. Within a year, he was also diagnosed with malignant melanoma twice.
Were you stunned?
Absolutely. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life. And, it's just not something as a 19-year-old you would ever think about. I mean, I didn't know anything about cancer. I was so naive. I was absolutely shocked. Cancer is so hard to deal with, even when you have all the resources. When you have insurance, when you have family and support and great doctors and great access, it's still hard. So imagine how hard it is for people that go by themselves, that may not be educated, that may not have insurance, that may not have access that we might have.
It was that compassion that led Doug to start the Ulman Cancer Fund for young adults in 1997 and eventually led him to Livestrong, where he was one of the first employees hired by Lance Armstrong in 2001. Armstrong's well-documented fall from grace tested Doug's leadership and the resolve of his team. Their dedication to those they serve resulted in the foundation emerging stronger than ever. Before leaving for Pelotonia, Doug spearheaded the creation of the Livestrong Cancer Institute at the University of Texas, a partnership that he believes can revolutionize the way cancer patients are cared for.
The knowledge and the sort of understanding of the cancer experience that has been developed at Livestrong over years and years of talking to people and surveying people and engaging with the community, we're at a point where I think we can translate that into a new model of care, where navigation doesn't have to be an add-on, it's part of the system, where all the things that we've advocated for, that we've worked on, that we've created programs to address, could be wrapped into the system.
As Doug Ulman moves forward, he's committed to giving back, a lesson learned from his parents.
My parents are the most important people in my life, aside from my wife and kids, and they taught me everything. They taught me what it means to give back. They taught me about service and about community. And both my dad and my mom have both battled cancer, and so this is an emotional journey that I feel like I have the whole family with me, and I want to accomplish this for all of them, as well as my kids and my wife, who have been so supportive and who I love dearly. And I think we're all here to climb on behalf of 32 million people around the world who have survived this disease, and millions more who unfortunately ran out of time. And it's with them in our minds and our hearts that we're here to struggle and ultimately to triumph.
After 6 grueling days on Mount Kilimanjaro, Ulman and the Survivor Summit team are ready to make their final push to the summit.
We've got almost 4,000 feet to go to the summit, and super excited, a little bit nervous, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something that none of us thought that we'd ever have the chance to do.
So it's just minutes before dawn. We're just below 19,000 feet. It's probably about 15 degrees out right now, and we have been going for a little over 6 hours. You see the team climbing and the moon right above us? We're just about to get to Gilman Point. From there we'll have about another 2 hours of easier climbing along the crater rim to take us to the true summit.
They climb all night, 9 straight hours, battling nausea, headaches, and hypoxia in the increasingly dangerous high-altitude environment.
Brutal. I mean, harder than I could have imagined.
Finally, the team reaches Uhuru Peak at 19,341 feet, the summit of the highest freestanding mountain in the world.
We made it to the top of that mountain. All the way to the top. And yesterday, I wasn't so sure it was possible. 100%.
The team celebrates on the summit for more than an hour, flying banners containing the names of those for whom they climbed.
Survivor Summit!
After climbing back down and returning to the lodge, Doug receives word that one of the longtime friends he was climbing for passed away while he was on the mountain.
Doug, I don't know if you're on top of that mountain, headed up or headed down, but I wanted you to know before you hear about it somewhere else that Jimmy passed away at 2:05 a.m. Pacific Standard Time this morning. If you're at the summit, please blow him a kiss for us. You know, if there's ever a doubt that these opportunities have a much broader impact, for me, that sums it up. So appreciate you all allowing me to be a part of it, and also just, you know, standing up there and holding that banner means a lot to a lot of people.
It's a heartbreaking end to another major symbolic achievement for a man who has dedicated his life to providing hope to survivors worldwide.
You saw some of the other climbers in that story, and each and every one of them has a remarkable story and is a true inspiration. Jeremy Jungling climbed with his wife, Claire. Jeremy was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2012, and Claire stood by his side through the treatment and recovery. In the years since his survival, they've welcomed their son, Jet. Bree Sandlin, a breast cancer survivor, celebrated her one-year cancerversary during the climb, along with her husband, Stephen. Bree calls Stephen the most selfless person she has ever met. He quit his job and put his dreams aside to not only care for Bree during her battle, but to stay at home with their twin boys, Elliot and Beck, who suffered serious complications after birth and now requires constant care.
Growing Boulder's medical director, Dr. Robert Masson, also summited Mount Kilimanjaro. He's an internationally recognized neurosurgeon who climbed to prove that he could, and also to honor his sister Callie, a 20-year cancer survivor, and his father who died from prostate cancer. And you can't leave out Growing Boulder's Wendy Chioji, a two-time cancer survivor who is now in a battle again with a rare form of cancer called thymic carcinoma. Wendy's mantra is, just say yes. And that's what she did when offered the chance to climb the world's highest freestanding mountain. The list of people who made this trip possible goes on and on, from Trek leaders Chris Warner and Nelson Lauer to cancer advocates Bob and Maddie Chandler, Cindy Trent, Rob Sargent, Chris Callahan, Dr. Matt King, and of course Mark Middleton, who climbed while shooting video the whole way up, and he created the incredible Emmy-nominated documentary Conquering Kilimanjaro. I tell you, I urge you all to see the film because, Mark, what you did is you really make us feel like we made the climb with you. And we got to meet those incredible people who climbed the mountain, and it's obvious that the experience that they had and that you had is one that no one will ever forget.
You're right about that, and in truth, the greatest part of the experience by far was the bond that was formed between all of us because of the shared challenge. And as you know, I only knew Wendy and Dr. Masson when we started, but by the time we got back down, I had 15 friends for life. A shared struggle always creates powerful bonds.
Surviving and thriving is the idea that no matter what life throws at you, no matter how big the obstacle, you can deal with it. That doesn't mean it's easy, and in many cases they can be some of the most difficult days of your life. But when you hear how others, like Tony Handler, faced their challenges, well, it makes Growing Boulder in the face of them seem just a little easier. Tony Handler was living a great life. He was married to the woman of his dreams. How many years?
57 years.
And raising a beautiful family.
3 boys, 3 sons, 5 grandchildren. That's this crew.
It was a kind of life he thought would go on forever, until everything changed.
We went out to dinner one night. We're driving home, and I got this terrible pain in my stomach. I was rushed to the emergency room, and they found that my stomach actually ruptured.
The diagnosis came quickly. Tony had pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest of all.
Were you a smoker?
No, never smoked, never drank. Don't know where it came from. Don't have any cancer in our family. So it just came out of the blue.
Then came the words he feared the most.
They did say that, well, it is serious stuff, and you have about 2 years to live.
2 years to live. No other hope. But Tony's doctor knew of an experimental program at the National Institutes of Health where they were testing new treatments and medications.
Zantac and omeprazole and a lot of these things are used for stomach issues. I was like the guinea pig for originally at NIH when they first started testing all those things.
Tony's cancer was so advanced that the next few months were a whirlwind. He underwent 7 operations, but his condition kept getting worse.
And they just told me I had 2 years to live, and I said, well, I'm not so sure I like that idea. I gotta think of something I can do to work on that and see if we can beat that prognosis. So I saw the Ironman triathlon, and I said, you know something, that's what I think I'd like to do.
So Tony started to run. Well, mostly walk, at least at first, but he liked it. It made him feel like he was fighting back. But cancer can be a relentless foe, and over the next few years, it attacked him again and again.
The pancreatic cancer first, and the liver cancer, and prostate cancer, and then all 3 kinds of these skin cancers, basal cell, melanoma, 3 times with the melanoma.
Somehow, through it all, Tony kept moving, entering every triathlon he could find.
Nothing like swimming in 60 degrees at 7 o'clock in the morning, you know?
Pushing his body and focusing his mind, he believes, helped him stay one step ahead of his disease. Plus, he needed victories wherever he could get them.
It sounds a little corny sometimes, but in my head, I only have one competitor in these things, and that's Mr. Cancer. And when I cross that finish line, I feel like I won.
Tony had every reason to give in, but he did not. He lived from day to day, race to race. The cancer was still there, but so was his desire to fight. It's why today, 33 years after being told he had 2 years to live, he's still competing.
And despite all the craziness that I've had with the 6 different types of cancer and something like 20 surgeries in between, I was able to do the 296 triathlons, and I think that just proves that you can do whatever you set your mind to do.
But at 77 years old, even he had to wonder how far he could go. Or did he?
In triathlons, they put your age on the back of your leg so you can see what age you're competing against. Well, this woman looks at my age and she said, and she starts telling me how impressed she is to see a 77-year-old guy out here doing triathlons, and it's so wonderful, and it's really nice to see. We talked like that for a while, and then she finally said to me, well, I've got to go now. And she takes off like a shot. And it left me in the dust, and I look at her age, she was 84 years old. And I think to me that sort of proves that age is not a hindrance to doing crazy stuff like that.
And remember that experimental program at the National Institutes of Health that he took part in? Well, originally there were 20 people in that program.
Of the 20, that I'm the only one that's still alive.
That was enough to get the attention of the medical community.
So the doctors really started to believe that maybe exercise is a real serious part of any kind of major medical issue, and it can help and improve. And in my case, I think I'd have to say that's probably the truth.
If it's exercise that kept him alive, Tony is determined to pay it forward.
I started a part of a cancer support group.
He says his retirement community played a big part in keeping him active and motivated. It's why he's doing the same for them.
We have a 3-mile run for those that want to run, and a 2-mile walk for those that just want to walk a little bit, and we're up to about $60,000 or $70,000 now over the 9 years. So I feel like I'm doing something to give a little back, and it's a neat feeling. It really is.
It's helped him lead to completing 2 Ironman triathlons and got him named to Team USA for the World Championships. And one more honor.
The winner of the Jerry Athlete Award presented by Growing Boulder is Tony Handler.
Hey, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world.
When I was diagnosed the first time with pancreatic cancer, they said I had 2 years to live.
And how long ago was that?
31 years ago.
Tony, what's your message to people who get diagnoses, to people who have obstacles they just don't know how they're ever going to overcome them, to people who don't think there's a tomorrow for them?
The simple answer to that is really 2 words, or 3 words: never give up.
Well, not only has he lived longer than he ever expected, his work ethic and desire to make a difference has allowed him to live better. You beat the odds.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I've been blessed.
More surviving and thriving stories like Tony's are available on our website, growingboulder.com/TV.
I say to kids, and I use the word kids, so they're all my age, what would you need to do to have no regrets? What would you need to do today to have no regrets? And do that thing, whether it's go to see them or not see them. Whatever that decision is, if you can lay your head on the pillow that night and say to yourself, I have no regrets, that would be my guiding light for them. You want to make sure that you really know the person you're advocating for. You really know them. You know if whatever decisions you have to make, that you can make them comfortably, that you're comfortable going to bat for them, that you're comfortable having conversations and saying no when it's needed, and that you do it with love and respect and patience and really above all, kindness.
So what do you love to do? What gets you up in the morning excited to start a brand new day? Because if you don't have something, you need to find it. Passion for life is one of the most important ingredients when it comes to active longevity.
Yeah, if you don't have something that really makes you want to get up each morning, sooner or later, you just stop getting up. Passion is one of the first things that you'll notice about artist Harold Guard, even as he talks about some of the hard, dark days that he's faced and continues to battle.
Harold Guard is a great-great-grandfather, and by most accounts, a great artist. Now in his mid-90s, the renowned American expressionist still paints daily, still struggling to solve what he calls unsolvable puzzles to create the perfect painting.
If I'm up in the middle of the night, half asleep, trying to figure out what to do with the painting, putting on my robe and checking it out and say, did I really think that that was finished? You better get your coffee, better wake up and go to work. And I do.
Guard lives a lifestyle of relative isolation that provides the focus necessary to nurture his creative talents, even though he does admit to periods of loneliness.
My ability to enjoy what I do is in the thing I really wish were not there, but it is in the loneliness. It's in the desperate loneliness of saying, whatever I'm doing now, is it more meaningful than what I've done before?
Guard's need to experiment and to evolve, even in his 90s, creates a daily struggle that has become his life's passion and purpose.
And is that solely an intellectual struggle, or as you've gotten older, is it also a physical struggle?
The struggle begins when I try to take that weary old body out of bed. And I look back to see if I left any parts behind.
But this is where the real battle is waged. Guard against the canvas, refusing to paint for collectors, shows, galleries, or museums. He paints only for himself, refusing to repeat himself, moving on from the powerful figurative abstractions that he painted in his 80s, still living a life of artistic rebellion.
I'm doing something that established the idea that I am me. I stand on a history of rebellion if I'm dealing with the art. I'm rebelling against things I can't do anymore, options I no longer have, but I'm not living in the regret of that. I have the time to sit here and talk to somebody who I think is smart, who's energetic, who's doing splendid things. I have the time to get up in the morning, get angry with what I see on television, decide to have a second cup of coffee and say, no, I can't do that. Good. So now you've gotten rid of your excuses, get in the studio and paint. And that's what I do.
So what do you say to people that believe that life after 75 or 80 or 85 or even 90 is not worth living?
I agree with them.
Your life isn't worth living right now?
Oh, mine is.
Oh.
But anybody asking that question, the answer is, yeah, you're probably right. It probably isn't.
What makes your life worth living?
I haven't solved all the problems. I haven't done the perfect painting.
Do you think you'll ever reach the point where you will feel good going quietly into the night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that we all should have that privilege. I should be able to do what my wife wanted from the doctor. I want to be able to say, you know, I want to go to bed tonight and not get up tomorrow. That's fine. I want that privilege. And what happens to my artwork after that? I hope if it's a very cold night and they build a bonfire, they'll get some warmth out of it.
Guard will answer the difficult questions, the controversial and philosophical questions, but don't waste his time asking about his artistic legacy.
There are a lot of questions that are just not worth asking, let alone answering. Part of me still needs to feel that I'm a contributing human being. It is an energy form. And I think that insisting on doing individual paintings, creating something which establishes a visual truth is important. That's what I do.
How well is he doing it? This is as close as he'll come to validating his own work.
There's the feeling that if I stay with it long enough, I will have something of which I'm not ashamed.
Harold Gard lives in the moment, and at this moment, his passion for pursuing the perfect painting is stronger than ever.
Hope, inspiration, and possibility. And in every episode, we hope you take away those three things because they are all keys to the Growing Bolder lifestyle.
And just to make sure that you are ready to make the rest of your life the best of your life, we leave you with one final message, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Wendy Chioji. You see it in the news every day. You probably see it at your job, in your community, among your friends and family. Life can change in an instant. Tomorrow's not a promise. I have seen that now twice with 2 cancer diagnoses. The message I got loud and clear is to stop putting off what's important to you. Figure out a way to take that trip, make that move, even pick up the phone and call that old friend. I saw a great quote the other day attributed to Buddha. It says, "The trouble is, you think you have time." Procrastination, for whatever reason, is inertia, and you can't move forward if you're not moving at all. Make it happen. Be the catalyst. I'm Wendy Chioji.
The experience is one that no one's ever going to forget.
Yeah, you're right about that. And truthfully, let's do
I was
this.
going to Bill review anyway.
All right. All right.
I didn't dish it.
So I did you a favor. It is poorly written.
More information about all of the stories you've seen here today is available at growingbolder.com/TV. And you can get inspired to keep rebranding aging when you connect with the Growing Bolder community on Facebook. Growing Bolder is available on DVD for $19.99 plus shipping and handling. A companion book, Growing Bolder, Rebranding Aging by Mark Middleton, is available as well for $29.99 plus shipping and handling. And you can subscribe to Growing Bolder magazine for $19.99. Order online at growingbolder.com/TV.